Storm Kira paid us a visit during the night, and there's the first casualty in our garden, and it's one of my large box plants. Walking down the plot, amazingly, only damage visible I can see is the felt has gone off the shed. All the glass in the greenhouses, the tunnels look okay, so I think we've escaped light. Well, after the winds died down, I had all sorts of things planned for today on the allotment, and instead the heavens have opened up, teeming down the rain. So I've decided to crack on with sowing the brassicas. We've got 7 or 8 different varieties here. Just a word of warning before we start, especially to any newcomers. The seeds of the brassicas in general look very similar to each other, and more importantly, once they germinate, the leaves are very similar. That was an expensive mistake that I made the first year of growing on my allotment. I grow a variety of different brassicas just like we got here, but when the potted on, there was all together, but eventually they got mixed up in different trays. And come potting out time, I got cabbage with cauliflowers, the odd sprout here and there, which eventually led to the method that I use for marking up my plants now, but that's a different video. Anyway, let's crack on. I sow the seeds individually in modules and usually have 1 or 2 rows per variety. Then I'll put the name of the variety on the label in front. And just fill the tray with any good seed and cutting compost. This one I'm using at the moment is Bathgate. It's called Champions Blend, and it's a peat-free version. Once you've filled it with soil and levelled it off, get a couple of 3 taps just to settle the soil into each of the cells. Then we're ready to start sowing. All that's left to do now is dib a small hole. I'm using this as Sharpie pens, ideal size. I tend to do it round about a centimetre or maybe just a little bit deeper. That's all the tray set out now, ready for the seed. I've completely sown now an 84 cell with a good different varieties of brassicas. Where the contents allowed it, I've sown more than 1 seed in the cell just to, in case we get a germination failure. I'll just show along the bottom there. We've got almost 3 rows of Brussels sprouts, 2 rows of Clapton cauliflower, 2 rows of Calabrese Ironman, 1 row of cauliflower Sapporo, 1 row of cabbage Dutchman, 1 row of cabbage greyhound, and bringing up the end, the 2 rows of golden acre cabbage. All's left now is to give them a little water over with a sprinkler, and these will be going into the propagator probably at around 15-16 degrees, and as soon as they start showing, I'll be actually taking them out there to harden them off, because brassicas don't like too much heat. Well, can you believe it? After the hurricane strong winds, rain, topping it off now with a bit of snow. So the weather's been not too good so far. I've carried on sowing. This is the tomatoes I've done today, starting off with Crimson Crush, Cocktail Crush, Super Mama and Tumbler on the end. All those are sown in the Bathgate Champions Blend, peat free, and topped off with a bit of vermiculite. With the weather still not playing ball, I decided to prick out some long overdue seed onions, Johnson's Exhibition and Robinson's Mammoth. These are put into cell trays, 21 of each variety. They do look a bit sorry for the cells at the moment, but I'll hope they'll pick up once the bottom heat kicks in from the propagator. Today I'm going to be sowing some leeks. I have two varieties here, one called Stocky and probably the most popular variety is one called Musselburgh. The growing method is the same for both types, it's just that the characteristics are slightly different, one's a bit shorter than the other. The good thing about leeks, they've got a very long growing season, and I intend on sowing the full packet of these, but will eventually plant them out at different stages and prolong the harvest time. One downside though with leek, depending where in the country you are located, they are susceptible to allium leaf miner and leek moth, and both can devastate your crop. But hopefully we'll combat this during the growing season with a bit of protection. Anyway, let's get sowing. I always start my leeks off in this polystyrene, what I call a fish box. They're quite commonly available in most greengrocers, and I've chopped it down to around about 150mm high, 6 inches, and I've put a little divider in there and already labelled what varieties go on which side. As you can see, the seed is quite fine, and because I'll be broadcast sowing them, I've put them in the little green seed distributor, and I'll be scattering them all over the complete area of the box there. As I said, I'll be broadcasting the seed complete in this one area, but we'll do two planting out, one in March, April, and the other probably about June, and this in theory should extend the harvest period up until about March next year. With both sides sown now, all that's left is to give them a little covering with about 5 or 6mm of compost. These polystyrene boxes do produce a good amount of insulation for the seeds during the cold snaps that probably come along now. These will be left in the greenhouse now just to germinate as is. I'll just pop a sheet of glass over the top there to keep a bit extra warmth in. And you may have noticed here I've put a little slot in there, both ends of the box, and that's just to allow a bit of airflow through. Well, what a difference from the last 2 days. Got some sunshine out now, but it's still icy cold wind, bitter cold. But time's running out for me now. I've still got a few fruit trees that I need pruning, so that's going to be the first job on the anvil for today. So that's it pruned. I've taken far more off than I really should have done really, but I'm willing to forgive some of the fruit this year just to reshape the tree because it was congested. I'm just going to start pruning this egremont russet now. So when I pruned this last time, which I can't remember exactly when, it's a while ago, it was done at the wrong time of the year and there's loads of whippy growth on there which produced no fruit at all. So I'm going to give this a good pruning again. Hopefully we'll still get some fruit this year, but if not, it's not the end of the world. So that's that all done. It does look a bit harsh at the moment, and said before, we might have lost a bit of fruit, but at least it's opened it up to get some airflow through now, so that should do it good for a couple of years. I'll just trim it. One little tip I have found is identify a branch that needs to come out, take it out, and then take a step back and have a look from different angles, because you can always take an extra bit off, but you can never put an extra bit on. it's been a thoroughly enjoyable and productive morning, but as soon as you stop work, oh blimey, that wind cuts into you, chops you in half. It's freezing cold. Before I go, a couple of little mentions. I want to say, was it last video or maybe 2 videos ago, I mentioned that the pack of seeds I'd bought from Browns, and also the issues I'd had last year with the leek moth and the allium leaf miner destroyed the leeks. One of the subscribers, Chris Chapman, asked if I'd ever tried the DT Brown leek moth traps. Well, I wasn't aware that they existed. I'm familiar with the codling moth traps for fruit trees, the pheromone ones, but so I've had a look at them. They look all right, and I've sent for some, and they've arrived. So thanks very much for that, Chris. And also, Browns have kindly sent me a code to share with anybody on the looks at the channel. I'll put the code, all these underneath. It's D20D BOOTZ, and for that you get 15% off all seeds and plants, but not including any hardware, and that's valid until the 30th of June 2020. We've got a few more offers on, and all there's up to 75% off some seeds, and 99p seeds are down to 50p. That includes such things as bolt hardy, Nance carrots, spring onions, white Lisbon, parsnips, tender and true. And also peas and beans are 150, including Giant Exhibition, the Sutton, Firestorm, Cobra, Benchmaster, Alderman, and other varieties, or a pound, such as a cucumber Carmen, tomato, Fairline, sweet corn Swift. The offer also includes some new season varieties and all, and for that you need to use the code D20DD1, but I'll put all these codes underneath. So that's about it for this one. It's freezing cold now, so I'm going to get in, have a warm, have a drink. So until next time, see you later, bye for now.